just go, Sissy Graydon Carter's bad food restaurant. His Oscar party is not hot. And that's as the DMT is released. That's what I'm going to be thinking about probably.
Washed up psycho Bette Midler.
That is a really good one.
Yeah.
I forgot. Washed up psycho.
It's the president said that. It's such a press out of nowhere. Washed up psycho Bette Midler.
You know what I've realized about Trump is like he's like the kill Barney president. Because he's like he would have just been the apprentice guy and like the building guy, but the thing that like sort of made him in the more modern era, like after Atlantic City and all that, was like having a feud with Rosie O'Donnell, like, just being like, she's a disgusting pig maniac. like it's the same. It's like as like a 50, 60-year-old man at the time having the same impulse as like, yeah, like a fifth grader who's like, I'm gonna fucking kill Barney with a sniper rifle. That's what you sound like being like an adult man who's like, fuck Rosie O'Donnell.
And, we were thinking about this, and it's just like, we, are so far gone now. Like, we've been talking to, like I said in the last episode, we are at level 9 of a James Ellroy novel right now, and I don't know what happens when we hit, like, the final chapter. When we hit level 10, this all just seems like we're headed to a terminus that, like, it seems like it's never going to come, but like we know it's out there somewhere. And we are so far gone now that like think about every previous American president during your lifetime and like what shows like SNL have had to do to make fun of them, which is essentially pick one sort of odd mannerism or tick that they have and exaggerate it to like a ludicrous degree. Like George H.W. Bush, that was the first one I remember. And it was Dana Carvey, not gonna do it. Like they just, a million pints a lot, and like it was just a sort of slightly dumb impression. Bill Clinton, he bit his lip, and he loved hamburgers,
horny and liked hamburgers.
Yeah, he's a fat, horny guy who's kind of sort of dishonest. George W. Bush, strategery, that was funny. Barack Obama, he was a homosexual who eats dogs. SNL did that, right?
No, they did. Sadly, not. Any of the cool, hilarious stuff. That's why Obama was. Oh my God, Obama was honestly worse than Trump for SNL. I mean, just as a comic character, because you could tell that they had that kind of. I guess they probably had a racial anxiety.
Well, yeah, they had Fred Armisen do blackface. That was
they couldn't
good.
That's the funny thing. They were willing to have fucking Fred Armisen do blackface, but they wouldn't say that he ate dog. Like, what the fuck, dude? Just like go all the way instead of being, he's kind of a nerd or whatever the fuck.
Or just like like the little scandals, like George H.W. Bush vomiting on the Japanese prime minister. That was pretty good. Or Lewinsky, or any of like the dumb little things. But like again, it seems like it's 10,000 years ago that he's been president. But like just every single thing, every these little moments that we've talked about or laughed about on the show, we don't realize like how far we've gone down into this like hyper normalized reality of like absolute absurdity and depravity. Like, and I haven't fully processed it. Like I'm just on, I'm going down the water slide basically.
We're at
like
escape velocity, like at the point where there could be no more acceleration. And it's like there's something we're hurtling towards, and it's probably a brick wall, honestly.
Well,
it's when it shows up, it's going to be so fast that we're not even going to be able to notice it when it happens.
I don't fucking know. Do you think, though, here's a question, is Donald Trump more lucid than Joe Biden is right now? Because I think he is.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it's like neck and neck. I mean, this is, again.
I mean, the thing is that if you look at the epic Trump goof-em-ups, his hilarious mistakes, he kind of rambles on and says things that are completely incoherent, but the words are all words. Biden, half of his sentences are just his mouth, his brain locking up, and then his mouth just continuing to make noises.
Was it, he said this week, he said RFK and Martin Luther King were assassinated in the 70s.
Late 70s.
The late 70s. He corrected himself to make sure it was the late
More
70s. And that was the takeaway. But then you pointed out that what he said after that was even more insane. or offensive.
Yeah, he
What'd he
said
say?
he was talking about how that was an era of great activism, and he said the women in the crowd, you don't know anything about that. I guess because only men were doing activism at the time. I don't know.
Was Squeaky Fromm in the crowd?
I don't. It's tough. It's tough because like I do initially think Trump is edging him out in coherence, but because like he always like he knows where he wants to get to when he's talking, and Biden like he's sort of the verbal equivalent of wandering around your house or apartment looking for something and forgetting what you were looking for halfway through.
Yeah.
But Trump, like, there are enough, like, the another Trump thing that no one ever talks about that was fucking bizarre was when he was being interviewed by Axios, and like somehow his answer to whatever question about like tariffs or whatever was like, and I can be very nice or I can be really nasty if people are nasty to me. And his throat closed up, like it sounded like he was about to cry, and he was rushed out of the room. And that was so fucking weird. Like there are enough like so fucking weird things like that would go beyond just like stupidity. Like staring at the sun, that's just being a fucking idiot.
Oh, that was great.
But like,
Hey kids, look what the president's doing.
You know,
staring directly at the sun, which all of your parents and all of your teachers have been spending a month telling you not to do. Here's the leader of the free world just going for it.
that is something I'll never forget for the rest of like that was something probably the last thing I think about before I'll die is like the president with like his wife that he bought and like their son just staring at the sun in front of his like 12-year-old child.
But
one of the most insane fucking things I've ever seen.
Melania and Barron did have the protective glasses on, right?
Yeah.
The viewfinders or whatever.
Yeah, his 12-year-old child had the glasses
And
on.
he just looked straight up,
Yep.
eyes open, just corneas radiant, just melted.
He
Just,
saw the black rainbow.
yeah.
But yeah, that's just being a fucking idiot. That's like he would have done that at any age. But like the thing where he almost cried is like there are enough little things like that are like, wait, what the fuck? But I don't know. I feel like Biden has had so many speeches where he's saying something and he just fucking he eats shit trying to say the word. He just falls face first down the stairs.
Well, see, I think I know why it is. It's because, so remember Bob Dole, he got his arm shot up at Monte Casino, right? And so it was kind of withered and it was spastic. And his hand kind of like, by itself would kind of like flop around. And he held a pen all the time because holding the pen kept the muscle spasms down and kind of kept it something to focus on. Trump has that in that everything he says is about how great he is and how you're hearing more and more about how like the time Colonel Sanders gave him, like a knighthood, and how wonderfully thrilled he was for that to happen and all of his very many good friends, like when the Pep Boys came to visit him, and they were so impressed with his business acumen.
The Jack in the Box respected me too much to try and surprise me.
So he's got an organizing principle to talk about, which is him. Biden, just he's less like deeply psychotically narcissistic. I mean, he's a poisonously narcissistic person, as all politicians are, but he doesn't have the clinical monomania of Trump. He's trying to actually answer questions on their own merits and on their own terms, and not make them about him. And he can't do it. He has nothing to focus on, so he just kind of sputters and vapor locks.
That is a very good point. Like if Trump actually tried to like answer straight up, it would be an unmitigated disaster. And there was also that Trump thing where it sounded like his teeth fell out of his mouth. That was very Biden-esque.
Well, see, but that's just it. The times that he has kind of gone mush-mouthed, a lot of people joke about how it sounded like he was having a stroke, but more likely what happened is a dental plate just dropped off. One of his false teeth came loose. Biden has nothing because he has veneers that have been fucking cemented in there. His brain is just fritzing. It's just bebopping and scatting. There's fucking columns of smoke coming out of his ears.
I literally saw an op-ed today in The Week by my old friend Damon Linker, still the only person who tried to get me fired from using Twitter. He had a piece today that said Biden is like gaffe proof, and not only that, his gaffes are actually like a net positive to him.
Damon Linker is the Wario to Steven Pinker's Mario.
That Damon Linker article is just sort of him instructing his grandkids and kids not to put him in a home. Look, gaffes these are good actually.
I mean, like he basically said, like, you know, like, to me, like I've sort of wondered if he's, you know, a bit doddering, but then I remember that, like, you know, I'm of the elite media class that's paid to write and think. To Joe Auto Worker 6-pack, like his, you know, the fact that he's a dotard and a stumblebum and a, you know, that's appealing, or like they don't perceive these gaffes in the same way that the media does. I don't fucking know. I've said it before. Like, I think if we had anything like an honest press in this country, like this, like Biden would already be out of the race.
Oh yeah.
Like we're like, they're engaged in a massive, I swear to God, like an actual media conspiracy cover up to keep him a viable candidate.
Yeah, they're doing Weekend at Bernie shit all across all of the major outlets.
And they don't seem to want to talk about Trump being obviously addled and dementia ridden as well.
And that's, I would think, more
pressing,
that's also
right?
more
Yeah.
pressing because he has the nuclear codes.
I don't like the word. I don't think I've ever seen like in a news broadcast or like a serious even op-ed piece. Forget a news article. Is the word senile ever been used in conjunction with Donald Trump and his behavior?
No. Well, it's like,
I guess you can't do it,
things
or
you can't do. There are things you can't say. There are lines you can't cross, and one of them is to point out the manifest obviousness that the two leading the current leader of the free world and the top contender to replace him are rapidly declining mentally, both of them.
All right, here's another.
I guess the question. I guess everyone's just gotten to the point where we realize if Donald Trump can be president and things still basically keep going, then it is essentially a ceremonial office. I mean, the guy's been watching television for 2 years, and things are still going. You know,
there's still
to the
food
degree
in the
that they are.
stores, and you know, like,
there's food in the stores,
Law and
there's
Order
gas
or
in the
whatever.
pump. You know, this is not a real job, and so it doesn't really matter who holds it. And so just let the grandpas, you know, let them get up there and talk about root beer and how it used to taste better before the corn syrup, and why not?